Hello, everybody. Hello. Just holding tight because I see folks are still popping into the room. It's so glad to see all of you today. So many happy looking faces on a Sunday. Great to see you all. Hello to Barry in Maryland. Hello, Hindi in Toronto. Hello to Dennis in British Columbia. Deborah in Kentucky. Good morning. Hello to Jane in Pennsylvania and Storm in Massachusetts. Hello to Sheila in Florida and Doug in Vermont, and Kathleen in Albuquerque, Bonnie in Idaho, Francette, so glad you're with us again today. Hello to Jan in Edmonton, and Lynn. Oh, hello, Lynn in Chicago. Nice to see you today. Hello, Carolyn in Idaho. Dick Jackson, one of our Ubuntu Choral Network song leaders from Victoria, BC. Hello, James Clement, right next door in Tacoma Park in my living room. Hello, Anne. Nice to see you today. And Dan in Virginia. Hello, Trish and Kevin. Great to see you again. Kevin coming in from New Hampshire. Hello, David in upstate New York. So glad you're back and so sorry you were having so much internet trouble yesterday. Hello, Adele. Great to see you today. Hello, Susanna in Victoria. Lynn in Connecticut. Great to see you. Hello, Caroline. Nice to see you today. And Carol, hello, coming in from BC. Zeta and Tenny and Ray Ray, hello. Great to see you. All those little tiny faces. Hello, Toby, the teacher. So it's the weekend and Toby's here. Hello, Luda in BC. Lisa in Indiana. Mary, hello. Tom, hello. Gail and Susan in Seattle, hello. And let's see, lots of folks not on video. Ida and Siobhan, Steve, Laura, Adrian, Gwen. And if I forgot to say your name or I missed you along the way, please hang out until the goodbyes and I'll get you then. Hello also to everybody who's just jumping in the room here now. And hello also to everybody on Facebook Live. Today is the last day of our 2 weeks of singing for racial justice. This is the daily antidote of song, Washington Rebels and Carpe Diem Arts partnering. This coming week, we will hit our 225th day. That is 67,000 views, 14 countries, and 46 states. It's been a wild and crazy ride in this room with all of you. And it's the most amazing community I think that I've ever seen, built full of people who've never actually met. So kudos to all of you for bringing all this amazing energy to this room. And I'm super excited today to be introduced to a new song leader. Chris Matthews is co-hosting with me today. Before I introduce Chris, I just want to say a couple quick notes. There is a donate link in the chat box. All of the donations that come in go directly to the performing artists. And it's all your donations are what's sustaining this program. So thank you so much. My email will be in the chat along with the lyrics and links to find Dave's music and Chris's music. And if you have any questions or want to get on our daily email list where we send out the lyrics and the song leaders in advance, you can email me anytime. I love hearing from all of you guys. Thank you so much for joining today. And so Chris Matthews, as lots of you already know because she's sung with us a bunch of times, is a DC area singer, songwriter, activist, amazingness person who's brought us some super powerful songs. Chris, I'm so excited to be co-hosting with you today. Thank you so much for being here and for bringing us a new song leader.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Joe. And hello to everybody. Thanks for spending your Sunday afternoon or morning, depending on where you are, with us. I had the absolute pleasure of meeting Dave Gunning at the Kerrville Folk Festival and hearing his music for the first time there, and was absolutely blown away. He really felt like a kindred spirit to me. As somebody who sings the type of music that I do, it's always a delight to find somebody else who is also doing that work in a very nuanced way with their art. And Dave is definitely one of those people. And so I'm so excited for you all to get to hear the song that he's going to share with you today. Just a little quick intro about Dave. He is an award-winning singer-songwriter from the Nova Scotia area, for our neighbors up in the north, and is so incredibly talented. He sings traditional folk music. He sings music with a bit of a Celtic flair to it, and is just so talented, such a wordsmith, and a lovely voice. And so I am so very excited. I could ramble on about him and his music and just gush about him incessantly, but I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Dave so that he can teach you his incredible song off of his album Lift, Sing It Louder.
At this point, I'm wondering if I should sing the song or not. I don't think I'll beat that intro. So, I fell in love with Chris when I heard her show at Kerrville. Just unbelievable, powerful set. Just alone on that stage and rocking it, and all positive, good stuff, and riding in the van back and forth to the YO Ranch there, and it was cool to connect, and it's great to see you again. And
You
thanks
too.
for inviting me to be part of this. Um, so yeah, I guess I'll just introduce the song, Chris. Is that what you figure? And yeah,
Yep.
yeah, I'll. Well, I guess a few years back I was playing at the Gotta Get Gone Folk Festival, and it was a bit of a cold, drizzly night, and I pulled into the festival site, and we were going to be staying in various campers or tents or wherever people were putting us up, not like local motels. So, and I was being billeted in one of those old Class C motorhomes, and I pulled up and I met the couple. They were staying in the motorhome with me, Bill and Vicky Kelsey, and it's just sweet people. And we had a great chat. I came empty-handed, so I thought, well, I better go. I went down to the little store and bought a bottle of Irish whiskey. Thought, well, maybe they like that, something to take away the dampness. And so we cracked the bottle. Bill and I did. Vicky wasn't drinking it, but and then Sally Spring and her husband were walking past, and I had never met her, so he invited her in, and we all sat at the table sipping on the whiskey, and just the festival hadn't started yet, so we're just kind of getting in the mood and talking and talking about I think climate change at the time, or and songs. So we started listing some of our favorite artists, and what we noticed is that in common, all the artists that we were listing were all singer-songwriters who have written about social justice issues over the years. And so we started kind of joking around. Well, we should be doing more of that, And Sally said, "Well, I do," and I said, "Well, I try to too, but maybe we should be doing more of it, because we just all these artists that we just listed. That was sort of one of the things that they all had in common, And so, and they're all folk singers, and we're folk singers, so we should be doing that too. And so we then we started. I don't know. I guess the whiskey was kicking in. We started kind of making fun of ourselves and making fun of the whole existence of being a traveling folk singer, saying, "Well, I guess so, but I mean, at the end of the day, we find ourselves oftentimes playing at a folk festival in front of an entire field full of hippies, so it's not like we'd be taking a big chance talking about environmental concerns or social justice issues. We're preaching, to the choir, right?" And so Bill started laughing, and he said, "Oh my gosh, I was listening to NPR a few weeks back, and they were interviewing a rabbi, and they asked him, why do you keep preaching week after week at your services to the same faces every week? If you haven't gotten to them by now, what makes you think you're going to get through to them? And why keep preaching if all you're doing, best case scenario, is perhaps just preaching to the choir?" And the rabbi said, "Well, I suppose I am just preaching to the choir, but it sure would be nice if they'd sing a little louder." And when Sally and I heard that, we looked at one another and we thought, there's a song in there. And Bill noticed the songwriters making eye contact, and took our whiskey shot glasses and started topping them up and slid them across the table, which wasn't very far, just a little table in the camper. And he said, "Here, let's have a toast to this song that you're going to write. None of this just talking about it stuff, because I witnessed a conversation here. This is undeniably a great idea. I want to hear the song. I can't wait to hear the song." So we promised him we'd write it, and we wrote it. And he was so proud of that he had encouraged us to get over the wall to write the song. And Bill passed away, very sad, a few years back. But I still see his wife from time to time. Often if I play for Sarah, Lena's there. Vicky will come out. She doesn't live too far from there. But yeah, so that's the story behind the song. And so we wrote it back and forth online afterwards, and then I recorded it, and yeah. So I don't know if the lyrics are kind of popping up there, but maybe what we could do, I guess the idea here is to just kind of go over the chorus a few times, and so I'll sing the chorus once through, and then I'll go back and we'll repeat and do the thing. I'll give you a bird's eye view of what it will hopefully sound like in the end. Plus everybody joining on and making it sound even more expensive. So across the valleys and up through these hills, there's a feeling all over this land that if we stand and rise together, there is change within our power. I am preaching to the choir to sing it louder. I am preaching to the choir to sing it louder. So that's basically the chorus. So across the valleys and up through these hills. So repeat that. Across the valleys and up through these hills, there's a feeling all over this land. There's a feeling all over this land. If we stand and rise together, if we stand and rise together, there is change within our power. I am preaching to the choir to sing it louder. I am preaching to the choir to sing it louder. So once more. Across the valleys and up through these hills, across the valleys and up through these hills, there's a feeling all over this land. There's a feeling all over this land. If we stand and rise together, if we stand and rise together, there is change within our power. I am preaching to the choir to sing it louder. Repeat that. I am preaching to the choir to sing it louder. So does that sound good? Should we pull the trigger on this thing and see what the whole song sounds like? Well, let's see. Here we go. This is an honor. This is incredible to be part of this, and it makes me feel not so unconnected. Like the last while, I felt more like a chicken farmer than a musician. Across the valleys and up through these hills, there's a feeling all over this land. There's a feeling all over this land. If we stand and rise together, if we stand and rise together, there is change within our power. I am preaching to the choir to sing it louder. I am preaching to the choir to sing it louder. I am a soldier, but I never had a gun. I carry songs upon my shoulders, hoping we shall overcome. But on this road, I'm not the only one who's following the thunder of the drum. And I'm not rich, but I have more than I need. In the middle of this battlefield of money-driven greed, and the line's getting thinner now between right and wrong. You lift your voice, I'll beat the drum. Across the valleys and up through these hills, there's a feeling all over this land. If we stand and rise together, there is change within our power. I am preaching to the choir to sing it louder. I am preaching to the choir to sing it louder. Let's sing for the living upon the land and in the sea. Let's sing out for justice. Let's sing what we believe. As the world spins round and round, may we one by one all join hands and beat the drum. Across the valleys and up through these hills, There's a feeling all over this land. If we stand and rise together, there is change within our power. I am preaching to the choir to sing it louder. I am preaching to the choir to sing it louder. So raise your voices now. We can make this work. Through the eye of the storm, we shall be heard. There's an echo in the distance that's played before. More suffering and hardship, more cruelty and war. But before we stop and rest, we must pass it on. For the young to march and beat the drum. Across the valleys and up through these hills, there's a feeling all over this land. There's a feeling all over this land. If we stand and rise together, if we stand and rise together, there is change within our power. I am preaching to the choir to sing it louder. I am preaching to the choir to sing it louder. Sing it! I am preaching to the choir to sing it louder. I am preaching to the choir to sing it louder. Thanks so much.
So beautiful, Dave. I'm literally in tears over here, and it's very hard to get me to cry. And I am in tears, completely in tears.
A hug to you, buddy.
Whew. I love that song so much because for so many of us, this work is hard. This is not an easy job. Being a folk singer, period, and let alone being a folk singer who sings for justice, who sings for change, who tries to use their voice for good in this world. It is a very hard job. And so that feeling of being reminded why we do this very difficult work, the love, as my mom, the Rev, calls it, that abiding love, that love for your fellow man, that love for your planet, that love for everything around you, that continues to drive you to do this work. And that song is just so touching to me because it is essentially that. It is a beautiful representation of that sentiment to me. And so it is very moving, that notion of singing to the choir, because it does. We're very blessed in that realm of folk music. So many people who are fans of folk music, it's like they go hand in hand. It's like Unitarians. Like the Unitarians are committed to justice. The folk music lovers are committed to social justice. It almost always goes hand in hand. And so it can sometimes feel like, am I really making a difference by preaching to the choir? And just to know and to hear that validation, you are preaching to the choir so that they will sing it louder. It is so beautiful, Dave. The first time I heard that song, I was 100% in love with it. I have told so many people about you and your music and that incredible song. It is so beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that with us today.
Thanks, Chris. Yeah, I think you just whatever you just did to me there is going to make me live longer. It's better than vitamins. Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about you. Who inspires you? I read that you being a son of the Nova Scotia area, of course, the great Stan Rogers is somebody who has kind of had an impact and an imprint on your life. But who else? Tell us about your journey as a songwriter.
Well, Stan and and his brother Garnet too.
Yeah.
And Garnet, in some ways, has inspired me even more. Because of what he's written about over the years and what he stands up for. He's a very brave soul. He's one of the ones that he's not afraid to address something fairly head on.
Yeah.
And I admire that about him, and that's what I admire about you as well.
Thanks, Dave.
As people that have an audience that are making really good use of it.
Yeah.
And but I mean, I grew up obviously inspired by the local music here. You mentioned Stan and other Canadian songwriters, of course, Lightfoot, and then, of course, lots of American writers. My mom and dad got sucked into joining Columbia House years ago when you had, the record of the month would show up and you had 10 minutes to get to the post office or it was yours for life, back in those days. And
Yeah.
so they had all kinds of stuff like Peter, Paul, and Mary and Bob Dylan and like the classic, well-known folk things.
Oh
And,
yeah. And your
and
hometown, you're by the sea, so
yeah,
you actually sing a lot about environmental justice.
yeah. Well, we had for quite a few years we had a really dirty bleachcraft pulp mill in our area. It's still here, but it's not operating at the moment. But back in the day, they were looking. It was an American company in the beginning. I think in 1967 it opened. Back when the Toronto Maple Leafs won the Stanley Cup, that's a long time ago. But so they looked to Mexico and Canada. At the time, the Nova Scotia government said, "Open your mill here, and you won't have to build a treatment system. We'll give you Boat Harbor to dump your effluent." And Boat Harbor is a 400. It was a tidal estuary back then. It was a 400-acre body of water, and it just happened to be, about 100 yards from our one and only Mi'kmaq community,
Yeah.
First Nation community. So it was environmental racism right from the beginning.
Yeah.
And
It's the conversation that we're having here in this country more and more is that correlation. Environmental justice is racial justice. Environmental justice is social justice. They so often go hand in hand.
Yeah, for sure, and it did, and it was it brought the community together. A lot of people fought this battle since before the mill opened, and myself and my brother and a group of us for about a decade fought it really aggressively with a social media campaign, and we were able to build credibility because we weren't activists, we were factivists, which takes a lot longer to do because you have to have your science together and you have to attract the interest of scientists, so it's credibility. The credibility's there. At the end of it, we had 3 pulp and paper experts on our group and 2 former scientists that had worked with Environment Canada, and we had doctors and lawyers. So we undeniably had a group of people that I think at the end of it knew more about the pulp mill than the people who were actually running the pulp mill. So we became very knowledgeable, so that we knew. And our First Nation community, what was great is that it brought all the fishers together on both sides, so it's been heartbreaking to see this issue that's flaring up in Atlantic Canada right now, and it's I support the Mi'kmaq treaty rights, but what's happening here is that I think people will become more aware as the time goes on, is that it's a little bit confusing here because there's a company called Clearwater that's basically clear cut the bottom of the ocean for years and responsible for the decimation of some fish stocks, have now partnered with the Mi'kmaq. So the corporation sees an opportunity to piggyback onto the rights of the Mi'kmaq for their own corporate agenda. But it's hard for, even if at this point we're not too sure how to point that out, because even if we say that, it's like, well, you're being racist to say that the Mi'kmaq won't know how to manage this corporation or how to steer it in the right direction. So it's a very confusing issue. So I think we as activists need to keep our antennas up. That see, there's always some of the white fishermen did something really stupid, and then all the white fishermen get painted with the same brush, and which is heartbreaking because a lot of them aren't racist, and most of the Mi'kmaq are nature-loving caretakers of the planet, but not all of them are, right? So there is a Mi'kmaq chief in Nova Scotia who's involved with this Clearwater deal, who also supports open pit gold mining and who also supports fracking. So so it's not really cut and dry. And meanwhile, we have a few fishermen that fell into the trap and now are being painted with the brush. Look at all these racist fishermen in Nova Scotia. So they lose public support, and then the corporation is going to, because of that narrative being created in the media and everybody can say, well, power to the Mi'kmaq, and then all the white fishermen get painted with the same racist brush. Then meanwhile, Clearwater is going to obtain more access to the inshore fishery.
So I guess
And
we know
so,
what your next album is going to be about. Is
oh
that
my
what you're
gosh!
telling
So
us, Dave?
it's been an interesting game to try to figure out, but
Yeah.
there's lots of inspiration. I remember at the time, I think you and I talked about this, Chris. Like, sometimes when we took on this pulp mill fight, I was worried that, oh my gosh, I'm spending so much time, sometimes 40 hours a week, fighting this issue, that I don't know if I'm going to have any time to be a songwriter or time
Yeah.
to write songs. And then I ended up writing a whole bunch of songs about the issue, and as songwriters, things that we're passionate about will inspire songs. Passion fuels the creativity. So,
Most definitely.
so I guess it's passion's not something to be afraid of, and
Definitely not. You certainly harness it very well. What do you think, Dave? Do you want to give us another round of the chorus? Give us one more
Sure.
dose of hope to get us started for this big week.
Yeah,
and send us out on the right foot.
Yeah, thanks again. Hugs to everybody.
Big
And,
hugs to you, my friend. It's so good to get to see your face and to get to hear your voice. I cannot believe you had me bawling like a baby in front of all these people. Oh my gosh.
It's amazing. So just do the chorus one more time.
Yeah,
here?
send us
Okay.
out, Dave.
All right. Twice, 2 choruses?
Yeah, give it to
Yeah,
us.
okay, great. Yeah. So across the valleys and up through these hills. Repeat that. Across the valleys and up through these hills, there's a feeling all over this land. There's a feeling all over this land. If we stand and rise together, if we stand and rise together, there is change within our power. There is change within our power. I am preaching to the choir to sing it louder. Across the valleys and up through these hills, there's a feeling all over this land. There's a feeling all over this land. If we stand and rise together, if we stand and rise together, there is change within our power. I am preaching to the choir to sing it louder. I am preaching to the choir to sing it louder. Repeat that. I am preaching to the choir to sing it louder. I am preaching to the choir to sing it louder.
Woo! Dave Gunning, thank you so much. That was absolutely amazing. And Chris, thank you so much for co-hosting with me and engaging in a great discussion. I absolutely love when other folks get their voices in here in the mix and the conversations go in all these great directions. So I wanted to say a couple of quick things because I always love the way things come together. I think he's probably left already, but Dick Jackson from the Getting Higher Choir was in the room earlier, and he pointed out that they.
Oh, he's still here.
Oh, he's here.
Yeah.
Hello there, Dick. So he pointed out that they did an arrangement of this song in their choir, and he's going to put a YouTube link in the chat box so we can all go and watch it, and I'll include that also in tomorrow's
Awesome,
email.
Dick. Thanks.
So much, Dick.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
And I also want to say I love that line, having an audience and making good use of it, because that's been a theme in here a lot. It's not just the artists who have an audience in here, it's also all the hosts and the co-hosts who are able to engage folks in discussion. And if there's ever been a time now for us to reach out to the folks that we know who maybe don't sit exactly where we sit, but sit close or sit a little further away, this is a great space now to start bringing folks in to be singing about all of the things, all the issues in the room, and maybe with a little less of the politics and a little bit more of the sort of human issues and the social justice issues as they stand on their own, which is for everyone, no matter what your political, sort of overarching philosophy is. So thank you for bringing that up. I also want to say that Lynn posted in the chat that Emma's Revolution did a song. I think she said it's called Choir, and it's sort of dealing with a similar theme. So, but of course, differently from their artistic perspective. If you don't know it, you can check that out. And also, if anybody's interested in meeting me at 4:00, I'm going to be in Emma's Revolution's Learn an Emma's Revolution song, which they do every Sunday. So we can all meet there, and with any luck, they're going to teach us choir today, which would be just a perfect overlap. So there's so many good folks out there doing the kind of work you are doing, Dave and Chris, the kind of work you're doing. And so I do also want to throw out that Chris is on track right now. Chris, give me a thumbs up if I have this right, for an entire CD singing on social and racial justice issues. Is that right?
Full length album.
Awesome. Wow. And she's got a Kickstarter going. You can find it, I think, actually on the Daily Antidote group page. There is a post with the info on that, but also on her page and on her website. For anybody in the room who doesn't know this, because I get emails every once in a while, and I got one today, you can see any past song that you missed by going to Facebook Live to the live page, and all of the songs, like 200 days worth of songs, or most of them, are archived there, and you can see any song you've ever missed. You don't have to belong to Facebook to be able to watch it. So please do go if you missed any of the days this week during the Singing for Racial Justice Weeks. Tomorrow starts the Archive Challenge Week. This is our second Archive Challenge Week. We have an amazing roster of artists, all different cultures and musics, all going to be songs that are traditional and came out of the American Folklife Center at the Library of Congress Archive. So please join tomorrow for that. It is so nice to see all of your faces. I'm so sorry to have to say goodbye, but it's better actually because now we can all go off screen, watch it again, and cry. So thank you again, Dave. Thank you so much. And thank you again, Chris. Can't wait to sing.
Such a pleasure.
Thank you. Can't wait to sing with. Go ahead.
Huge honor to be part of this. Thanks so much.
So great to have you, Dave.
Dave, I think I mentioned to you that we had folks in the room who had actually also told me about you before Chris did, and one of them had specifically pointed to a song about hands. Can you remind me the title?
These Hands?
These Hands.
Yeah. Yep.
So we're gonna cue Dave up to come back in one of these upcoming months to sing that one with us. So thank you again, Dave.
Sure. Great.
All right, so goodbye to everybody in this room. Oh, actually, first goodbye to everybody on Facebook Live. Now I'll push the magic button. Bye, Facebook. Thanks for joining.